A lovely welcome to Hope Channel Zambia, television that changes lives. It is now time for the main news, and remember, we are also streaming to you live on our Facebook page, which is Hope Channel Zambia, and also feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more news items on Hope Channel Zambia. Let us take a look at the stories that are making headlines. Israeli ambassador to the U.S. calls on Zambia to actualize the inter-country trade agreement. DEC seizes jet with over $100 million at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. Luansha Council appeals to residents over unclaimed decomposed body. Police in Chipata arrested and charged Tobias Banda, aged 75, for indecent assault involving a female juvenile aged 14. And government says over 90% of people aged between 10 and 19 are living with HIV in Zambia. The stories will come in more detail shortly after this.
My wife, bumper harvest. Eh?
Daddy,
I'm telling you.
your new fertilizer. Niamini.
Eh?
Iya, Daddy, my
Tell you.
Hello. My instructions. I
went to ETG, and now we are enjoying the benefits of using a blended D-compound fertilizer as basil and Kynoplast as top-dressing fertilizer instead of urea that we used last year. Now look here. This year, it has given me 4 tons. 4 tons. But last year, it was only 1.8 tons. Kynoplast has given all my crops the nitrogen that I paid for. Wow. It has saved me money. Telling you.
Understanding the difference between soil and crop-specific fertilizers, therein lies strength for Kynoplast blended fertilizers. More value in a bag. Available in the ETG depots countrywide, with a network providing agronomy services to farmers across the country. Kynoplast. Enhanced efficiency through innovation. A product of ETG.
With the news in detail, I am Piwi Elesani, and our sign language interpreter is George Kalimukwa. In our first news item, Israeli ambassador to the United States, Michael Herzog, says the recent visit by the Zambian president is likely to translate into meaningful investments. He says the main aim of the visit was to strengthen the diplomatic relationship between the two countries. President Hakainde Hichilema encouraged Israeli investors to consider taking up new enterprises in Zambia at a state banquet in Jerusalem, assuring them that the Zambian economy is prepared to support and promote foreign investment. Speaking when he paid a courtesy call on Zambia's ambassador to the United States, Chivamba Kanyama, in Washington, D.C., Mr. Herzog said he had been instructed by Israeli President Isaac Herzog to make follow-ups upon issues agreed when the two presidents met for purposes of actualizing them. He said he was happy that the Zambia Development Agency, ZDA, was part of the delegation that met different Israeli companies for investment opportunities in Zambia. Mr. Herzog said Israel's technological advancements in agriculture would significantly benefit Zambia's more traditional agricultural methods. Mr. Herzog said Israel was eager to strengthen relationships in all sectors as well as build connections between the people of Zambia and Israel. Mr. Herzog said President Hakainde Hichilema's visit to Israel symbolized a commitment to strengthen friendship and cooperation between Zambia and Israel in various sectors. Meanwhile, Mr. Kanyama said there was a lot in common between Zambia and Israel. He said the best way of actualizing the commitments made in Israel was by settling a joint technical team between the two embassies to put together a program of action.
And then our president invited your presidents, And as I told you, your president asked me to work with you, so which I'm very happy to do.
Thank you.
In concrete terms, I think I agree with what you say.
Yes.
We should have our teams work on concrete measures. We also have an economic counselor in our embassy who is very capable.
Good.
And we would like to connect her with your team. She's now away, but will be back soon.
Sure.
So why don't we do some preparatory works of our teams, and then we invite you next time to our embassy.
Thank you.
And we can move ahead. Yeah.
Now, following social media circulation of the seized jet with over 100 million US dollars at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, the Drug Enforcement Commission, DEC Director General, Mr. Nason Banda, through a press release, said the Drug Enforcement Commission, DEC, received information that a chartered aircraft carrying dangerous goods had landed at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport on the 13th of August 2023 at 19 hours. Acting on this information, the DEC, together with officers from various law enforcement agencies, conducted an operation on Monday, 14th August 2023 at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. The operation resulted in a seizure of the following items: 6,907,700 US dollars, 5 pistols, 7 magazines, 126 rounds ammunition, 602 pieces of suspected gold weighing 127.2 kilograms, equipment used for measuring gold. The Commission has since seized the Global Express T7WW on which the above items were found, and another aircraft belonging to a local airline whose make is King Air B190. The 10 suspects, including a Zambian, have been detained awaiting further investigations.
Same aircraft, we also seized 5 firearms, namely pistols. We also seized 7 magazines. Magazines are those items where you put in the rounds before loading onto a firearm. We also seized 126 rounds of ammunition. In addition to that, we also seized 602 pieces of suspected gold weighing 127.2 kgs. We also seized equipment that is used by us, but they just did a presumptive test, so they will now get down to verify what kind of gold it is, or if it's gold at all. As regards the money, we are certain that these are genuine dollars because the Bank of Zambia came in and they're the ones that counted. And right now, as we speak, just after we finished the verification of the quantities of the money, everything has been taken into the safe custody of the Bank of Zambia. As per procedure, whenever a vessel is carrying illegal substances or goods, when we seize those goods, we also seize the vessel. So in that line, we have seized the aircraft, which was carrying these items that I mentioned. The aircraft is called the Global Express T7-WW. And we have also seized another aircraft. This time, this one belongs to a local airline, the make of the aircraft is King Air B90. Now, the reason we have seized this other aircraft is to help us in our investigations. There's some connection that we have seen as we're investigating this particular matter, so we have seized, in short, 2 aircraft. I must mention that in this operation, we have so far detained, not yet arrested, detained 10 suspects, including a Zambian. They are in custody as I speak, and the chances are that the number of people to be detained will rise. As you might appreciate, this operation was just last night leading into this morning, so a lot is still being done. So that is where we are.
The Luwansha Municipal Council is appealing to residents and members of the general public who are missing a male family member, friend, or relative to check at the Roan Antelope General Hospital mortuary before the body is disposed. Luwansha Public Relations Manager Gideon Tole said in a statement that the deceased male adult is approximated to be between the ages of 30 and 45 years old and was wearing a white t-shirt and a black short on the fateful day of the road traffic accident which happened in Pongwe district. Roan Antelope General Hospital Management have granted the Luwansha Municipal Council authority to bury one unclaimed male body if no individual or family members come to claim it before burial. The unidentified male is a victim of a road traffic accident which happened near the checkpoint in Mpongwe on 29 July 2023. The accident victim is suspected to have been hit by a runaway driver and was taken to Mpongwe Mission Hospital by a Good Samaritan. Mpongwe Mission Hospital authorities rushed the person to Roan Antelope General Hospital in Luwansha, where he later died and his body deposited in the mortuary. Roan Antelope General Hospital Management has formally requested the Luwansha Municipal Council to facilitate the burying of the body, which has started showing signs of decomposition. According to a stipulated procedure, after a period of 14 working days from the time of authorization to bury the unclaimed body, granted by police, the local authority is expected to prepare a gravesite for the deceased, which should be marked in case for any future claims.
As Luwansha Municipal Council, we have been granted authority to bury a decomposed body of a male adult believed to be between the age of 30 and 45. The body of the deceased is lying in the Roan General Hospital mortuary, and the deceased was wearing a white shirt and a black pair of shorts at the time he met his fate. I wish to put it on record that as Luwansha Municipal Council, we are now worried with the increasing numbers of unclaimed bodies dumped in our hospitals within the district. I must state that from October last year, as a local authority, we've been burying an average of one body every month, and this situation is of great concern to us as a local authority, because Luwansha is a small district, and if we are burying an unclaimed body every month, then this should be a source of great concern.
Climate change activist Abel Muzumali says there is need to enhance new technologies and policies in order to have adaptive measures on climate change both in the country and abroad. Mr. Mzumali, who is also Abel Muzumali Foundation proprietor, says his foundation is seeking to build capacity among youths who make up a larger population in Zambia. He says youths, women and girls can play a critical role as far as climate change is concerned. Mr. Mzumali says the government should enact the climate change bill so that there is a legal framework to regulate climate change for other policies to be sufficient.
Change in climate across the globe is affecting Zambia, and its impact has been seen through rising temperatures, changes in rain patterns, among others. The inevitable changes in climate may create vulnerabilities in food security, water resources, health, as well as social economic activities. To complement government's efforts in creating climate adaptation policies, Abel Musumali Foundation is working to create awareness and build capacity among the youths who are believed to be the key players by population.
We've seen increased floods, even in the previous rain season, and we've seen increased temperatures. These are some of the signs of climate change that negatively impacting our economy. But due to the increased impacts of climate change, the need for humanitarian keeps on increasing. The need for government to provide relief food keeps on increasing. And this is an issue that which, as an organization, we are trying to participate. We are lobbying and advocating so that the climate change bill, that which is in place, goes to Parliament for enactment. Because once the climate change bill goes to Parliament for enactment, then we'll say we have a law that is regulating climate change in Zambia. As things stand, Zambia doesn't have a legal framework that deals with climate change.
During the open forum, a panel of youths shared ideas in regard to climate change.
Advocacy and lobbying for better policies, especially when it comes to issues that have to do with climate change adaptation. We see the struggle that we have as a country, as Zambia. We can't easily adapt to climate change, but together as young people, if we put our minds together, I'm pretty sure that we can bring something on.
We need to take responsibility of our actions. We also need to play a critical role in protecting our environment.
In 2017, Zambia launched the long-awaited National Climate Change Policy aimed at stemming the impact of climate change and subsequent reduction of the country's annual economic growth due to crop failure and the impact of climate change on energy. Mwenemianga Hope News, Lusaka.
Now, in stories yet to come, police in Chipata arrested and charged Tobias Banda, age 75, for indecent assault involving a female juvenile aged 14. We'll be back with this story plus more shortly after this commercial break.
Escape the winter monotony with an August pack full of variety. Discover hilarious kids content and the best of local reality shows on Top Star.
The guy likes our chicken. Have him.
For only 160 kwacha, Antenna Classic Old Dish Smart. Give your little ones the gift of joy, laughter and learning as we welcome them back home for the holidays with delightful kids shows on Cartoon Channel, ST Kids, Jim Jam and more. Start the month with the prize-winning local game show Bongwa Champs on Quacks, premiering on 6 August at 19 hours on Novella E+.
Where in the human body can the smallest bone be found?
Watch contestants put their intelligence, teamwork, and humor to the ultimate test. But there is more. Looking to spice up your weekends? Don't miss Hello Mr. Right Season 3, airing live on TV3 every Saturday at 20 hours. Cheer on your favorite couple and witness as they find love through a range of fun challenges, conflicting conversations, and plenty of romantic moments. Subscribe now. Top Star. Enjoy digital life.
Change your water, change your life. Kanjin Water Zambia Limited brings to you microclasses highly alkaline water with the benefits of immunosystem booster, disease combating, and many more. For more information, dial the number 0976 096670. We are located in all around the country, Zambia. Change your water and change your life. Change your water and change your Kanjin water. Kanjin water. Change your water, change your life.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We now continue with the rest of the news. A fisherman identified as Mr. Matthews Kalonga of Kamimbi in Namuzunga ward has been attacked by hippos. The incident happened around 07 hours when Mr. Matthews was on his way back from fishing and suddenly crossed where hippos were gathered on the lake, and the victim's canoe was capsized by a hippo. The victim sustained injuries and was rushed to the University Teaching Hospital, UTH, for medical treatment, and the incident has since been reported to the Department of National Parks and Wildlife, NDPW, formerly ZAWA.
Mr. Lakch Pereme, who actually told me the incident which had happened on the wreck, that a person identified as Mr. Matthews Karunga was actually attacked by the hippo. Matthews was coming out from the wreck from fishing. Eventually, he crossed where hippos were gathered. It was at that point when hippo hit the canoe for Matthews, and he was attacked brutally. That even as we are talking now, Matthews is at the hospital. He's been transferred to UTH for medical checkup. If you check at Gwena, that's where the game rangers used to stay. So this was actually a park whereby it was allocated with a lot of animals, different animals. So at that point, and my ward, it has a lot of activities whereby people are farming and so on. So even hippos is very easy, quickly and come around here because there is a lot of farmers around here, a lot of activity, and the ward is growing very faster. So my appeal to Zawa as authority, they should conduct a very proper sensitization around the community to each and every citizen, so that each and everyone can able to understand this concept of animal and human conflicts.
Now, Zambia police spokesperson Ray Hamonga says police in Chipata have arrested and charged Tobias Banda, aged 75, of Mpala Kujala village, of the offense of indecent assault involving a female juvenile aged 14. The accused is alleged to have committed the offense by way of touching the victim's breasts, private part, and inserting his manhood in her mouth. Mr. Hamonga added that the accused is alleged to have further tattooed her buttocks with a razor blade as a way of administering African traditional medicine. He said the incident occurred on August 13th, 2023 at 15 hours at Chafumela village of Kapatamoyo chiefdom in Chipangali district. The suspect is currently detained in police custody. He will soon appear in court. Government says over 90% of adolescents between the ages of 10 and 19 are living with HIV in Zambia. Speaking during the HIV Counseling, Testing and Treatment Day, Vice President Mutale Nalumango says the number is worrying as half of the 90% are on life literal therapy. Ms. Nalumango says one of the causes of HIV in adolescents is mother-to-child transmission during pregnancy, birth and breastfeeding. Ms. Nalumango said urged mothers to continue testing their statuses during the said period to curb HIV in children. She encouraged young people to refrain from engaging into activities that lead them to contracting HIV. And Health Minister Sylvia Masebo says the low detection of HIV in pregnant women is worrying. Ms. Masebo says this situation remains a great concern as babies are being infected during breastfeeding.
A march to commemorate the National HIV Counseling, Testing and Treatment Day. Every year, Zambia observes this day to show government's effort in the fight against HIV. This day was commemorated across the country with the theme, Young People, Make a Difference, Test for HIV. This day is aimed at creating awareness to the public about HIV and increase access to information and HIV testing services. This event attracted a number of senior government officials and various stakeholders. Vice President Mtali Nalumango officiated the event. Ms. Nalumango says the rate of HIV in adolescents is worrying.
Zambia is still one of the countries with a high HIV burden, with an adult national prevalence of 11.1%, with an estimated 1,400,000 people living with HIV and 1,197,742 are currently on life-saving antiretroviral drugs.
She has a word for mothers and young people.
In one language that says, "Apa komaila nondo paliovulema." When something is repeated, it shows how important it is.
Health Minister Sylvia Masebo says there is need to do more in detecting HIV in pregnant women across the country.
Despite commendable strides towards HIV elimination, significant challenges have come to the forefront. Notably, the rising number of new infections among adolescents and young people, particularly the young girls and women, is not just alarming but worrying, because this jeopardizes the socio-economic potential of this vital demographic. Additionally, low childhood HIV detection and treatment rates remain a concern, with a substantial percentage of babies diagnosed during and after breastfeeding periods.
Civic leaders in Lusaka feel sensitization will help to curb illicit behaviors that leads to contacting HIV among young people.
Your Honor, we have a junior council that we use to do a lot of sensitization in our communities, and this junior council, I know that is going to help with sensitizing all the youth, especially the ones that are so vulnerable with the HIV infections these days, aged between 15 and 13.
Street vending became a hub through which illicit drugs were sold, thereby perpetuating substance abuse, which is one of the leading factors for HIV transmission among adolescents and young people.
Some stakeholders have pledged to play a role in helping sharing information about HIV.
As a representative of the U.S. government, it's my pleasure, alongside the government of the Republic of Zambia, to support the launch today of Zambia's country plan for the Global Alliance to End AIDS in Children.
Later, the Vice President launched the Global Alliance to End HIV in Children and towards some stands. Esnat Sekazwa, Hope News, Lusaka.
The National Malaria Control says the country is recording around 7 million cases of malaria and over 1,200 deaths due to malaria every year. National Malaria Elimination Control Center Acting Director Wusiku Hamainza says the statistics are not acceptable for a disease that is both preventable and curable. Dr. Hamainza says the country has, however, made progress in reducing the disease burden in the past decade, and that there is need to ensure that the country's aspirations of a malaria-free Zambia by 2030 are achieved. In an interview with ZMBC News in Lusaka today, Dr. Hamainza noted that the highest burden of malaria is in the northern parts of the country and some parts of Eastern Province. He said this year's indoor residential spraying exercise, which will commence around September, will target 900,000 structures countrywide and 11.5 million insecticide-treated mosquito nets will be distributed. Now, this story item brings us to the end of our main bulletin, but before we go, let us take a look at the stories that made headlines. Israeli ambassador to the U.S. calls on Zambia to actualize the inter-country trade agreement. DEC seizes jet with over $100 million at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. Luansha Council appeals to residents over unclaimed decomposed body. Police in Chipata arrested and charged Tobias Banda, aged 75, for indecent assault involving a female juvenile aged 14. And finally, government says over 90% of people aged between 10 and 19 are living with HIV in Zambia. Thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to continue following our Facebook page, which is Hope Channel Zambia, and also subscribe and follow our YouTube channel, which is Hope Channel Zambia. I have been Piri Elisani, and our sign language interpreter has been George Kalimukwa. Stay blessed.